Hello guys, today we are going to implement our cart service and cart controller to be able to add products to our cart and make orders out of them. The orders is going to be created in the next video. Today we will implement a cart system. First we need to create a cart service and add the annotation that this class is going to be a service. And after that we need to make annotation of required args constructor, and after that we need to use a cart repository and a product repository. After that we need to be able to know who is the user, whose cart is it. That's why we're gonna use user repository. And of course, after the user repository, we need to use a cart mapper to be able to convert the DTO to entity and vice versa. Our first function is gonna be simple. We're gonna create add to cart function. It's gonna return a cart DTO to a user. Here we need to use a user ID, and we need to use a product ID and quantity. I'm sorry, here is integer, not integer. So here we need to know who is the author of the cart. That's why we're gonna use the user model. Here we can import it, and after that we need to use a user repository and find by ID using user ID that we provided in attribute. And if it's not gonna find anything, it's just gonna throw exception that the resource was not found. And here we can just write a message that user was not found. And the same thing actually with the product. So we can just copy and rewrite here for product model. Here we need to import product, rewrite it to a product, user product repository instead of the user repository. And here we need to provide the product ID. And here we can just return that product was not found. That's it. So after that we can check that our quantity is not bigger than existing quantity inside of the that we have in stock inside of the product database. And if our desired quantity is more than existing quantity, so it means that there is insufficient stock exception. This exception is going to be created now. We can write here that not enough available, and we can just usually copy this class actually and rewrite here insufficient stock exception. It's gonna be the same as a resource not found exception, literally the same, but with a different name. And here we can import this exception here, and yeah. So after that we need to find the cart, create cart model. So that's why we're gonna create cart model, and using cart repository find user by ID, find by user ID. And if it's not gonna find anything, it's just gonna create new cart for that user. It means that if user does not have any cart, it's gonna be created automatically here using this new cart construction. So after that we can write here optional, which means it's gonna be existing or not, it's gonna be presented or not. And here we will just get all items from the cart, and we just will filter it using for each item we're gonna filter whether it is equal to product ID or not, and that's it. So that's why we're gonna get product of this item, get ID of this item, and compare it to product ID that was provided to this function in attribute. And we can just use a find first method. So it's gonna check that this product exists already in our cart. Like that's why we are using existing cart item. And if we have existing cart item, which means is present, we can just get this existing cart item and set a new quantity for it instead of adding new product. So literally we are saying that if this cart item, which means a product existing in our cart, then instead of creating new cart item, we will just set a new quantity. So that's better than creating new cart item. So after that, and if there is no existing cart item, it's just going to simply create this new cart item. That's why we need to use this cart item model and create a new cart item using this construction of the cart item class. Here we just need to provide this, and since a user has only one cart, it is not necessary like to provide the ID for this. We can just set a null for it, since it's a first. And after that, we can just get all items and add this cart item to this list of items. And after that, we just can save it using a cart repository. So that's why we need to create this saved cart, and using cart repository we can save it as a model for interacting with database. And after that, we can just return our saved cart, but convert it to DTO using cart mapper. So yeah, it works fine. Yeah, looks fine. We can go next for start to start next function. Next function is gonna return cart of the user, and that's why we need to provide here user ID. And we just gonna use simple repository function. We just need to call cart, and here we need to save cart repository find by user ID. So we literally getting cart by user ID, and if it's not existing, we just can return exception that a resource was not found, with the resource not found exception with the cart not found. And that's it. And if everything is okay, we just can return this as a DTO. So we can just return cart mapper, convert it to DTO, this cart, and return this cart. That's it. So the next function is going to be simple. It's going to be clear cart. Here we need to provide user ID. So we're going to provide user ID. And we have an error because we don't have a... okay, I forgot to add this void type, that this function is having a type of void that is not going to return anything. So here we can just find cart using user ID, and that's why we're going to use the cart repository as before, and find by user ID here. And if it's not going to find anything, it's just going to throw exception, resource not found exception, with the message that cart was not found. So after that, we can, if everything is all right, we can get all items and clear it here, and save this cart. That's it. So next we're gonna create our controller to be able to interact with cart using API endpoints, and that's why we're gonna create this cart controller. Here, as always, we need to claim that this is a REST controller. That's why we need to add this annotation here, and now we can add this annotation of request mapping. Here we can add this endpoint, that API end cart, and after that we need to add this annotation with the required constructor. I'm not going to explain why, you know it already, since I was talking about it many times. And now here we can use the cart service to use all those functions that we created in service, and here we can create this response entity function, and we can provide here inside cart.dto, and it's gonna be named as add to cart, as in our service. Here we need to claim that this is a post mapping method, that this endpoint is post, and here we need to write add, so that we will be able to add it. And here we need to add pre-authorize, which means that only authenticated user, authorized user, is able to do this function. If he will not be authorized, which means he's not gonna using bearer token, it means then that he will not be able to do this function. Here we need to provide authentication principal to get current user token to know who is currently using this function. That's why we need to use this authentication principal. Next is going to be request param long product ID, and the same but with quantity. So which means that we will provide those information in parameters. And here we need to get our user, so that's why we're going to use this long user ID and model user here. And after that we need to write this user details and just simply get the ID. So in our user ID we will have user ID from the token. So after that we can return this response entity with implementing that function from cart service, and just provide simply all those information, such as user ID, product ID, and quantity. Okay, so our next function is gonna be get cart. Let's start implementing it. Here we do the usually same response entity. As always, we need to provide our desired object, which is a cart.dto, and we can name it simply getCart. And after that, we need to claim that this is a get mapping. This method of endpoint is get, and we can use this getCart only if we are authorized. So that's why we can just copy this one and paste it here. So we can just copy this same function here, because it's actually the same. And of course we need to provide this authenticational principle of user details here. And the only thing is gonna change this getCart. And after that we need to delete all this. Okay, here we have okay, because of this get class we need getCart. Okay, now it's working. So the next one is going to be deleting, which means clear. That's why we're going to create this public response entity. We can just copy it, and instead of getCart we need to use delete or clear cart. And instead of the this, we need to rewrite it and add a clear cart method. And of course we need to provide here void function, since since clear cart is not getting anything, and of course write the delete mapping method. And here we just need to return anything, which means no content unbuilt. So finally our cart is ready. We can launch our server. I hope that everything will launch very fast. Here we need to use the postman, of course. And as we see here, our server started launching, and we don't have any errors yet. And as we see here, everything is all right. We still don't have any problems. Okay, it is started. Now we can start testing it in our postman here, and we just actually can just copy this. Everything is lagging since I'm launching a lot of stuff at the same time. Now here we need to we just can copy this comment added to this new, and just rewrite the method. And the same thing actually can be done with this comment get comments. And we just need to rewrite the name and endpoints. Here we're gonna write cart, get cart. And the same thing, we can just move this one to here and rewrite it to cart, add cart. And actually we just need to rewrite this cart and delete this product endpoint and to write add the endpoint here. And the same here, but we need to delete this product and from endpoint and to rewrite it to cart. Okay, so actually we can copy it this also and change here to delete cart or just clear cart, and change the method here and rewrite it to cart. Okay, and we can finally save all of this together. And here we need to get our token, so that's why we're gonna log in again. So we can just simply copy this web token from here and start using our start testing our functions that we implemented. Here in authorization, as usual, we need to rewrite this token. In params, as we remember, we need to provide product ID and quantity. For example, we have only one product existing, I guess. And for example, we're gonna get the second one. And for example, we need to get, I don't know, 1,000. Since I know that there is no so much quantity. Okay, let's try to change it to like 1. And everything is working because this quantity is existing in our database, and we can just try to get, we have a forbidden, okay, because we forgot to, I guess we forgot to add the new web token. We just need to change it. We are using this old token that was expired already, so that's why we need to use this one. And we see that everything is working. We have our ID and we have our item and quantity of that item in our cart. So we can try it again. It works. We are able to even reduce, for example, write -1, and here instead of 4 we're gonna see 3. Yes, so it works. And we can try get cart again to be sure that this was saved in our database. As we see, everything works, and we can just try to clear our cart. We have a forbidden because we didn't change our token. We can rewrite it and try it again, and everything works. So now we see that we don't have anything. So I hope you liked the video, and see you in the next video where we will implement the same thing but with order, and we will implement email sending also. See you later.